Hello and welcome to Skeindeer Knits. My name is Ellie and I am a Norwegian living and knitting in London. And you can find me all over the internet, Instagram, etc. as Skeindeer. And I'm Skeindeer Knits as a designer on Ravelry, where I make Norwegian inspired knitting patterns. Mostly garments, mittens, accessories, things you can wear. So do check that out if you've been fancying some knitting patterns. But yes, hello and welcome to my knitting podcast, knitting talk show, where I sit and chat about what I've been knitting on since last time with you all. I've been doing it since 2016. We're gonna have our 10-year anniversary after summer. Oof. So yeah, if you're new here, that's basically what this is about. I'll be showing yarn that I bought, things that I've knitted, a lot of things I've finished and frogged. That's the theme of this episode. Also, of course, welcome to returning viewers. This episode is hopefully a little bit for you as well, because I have had a long, hard look at my works in progress this past week. And my works in progress date back to 2015 at the oldest. Most of my works in progress, shall we call them UFOs, unfinished objects, perhaps we should, they are all from 2020 or earlier. So they're not even from this decade at all. And they are things that I refer to as whips and not UFOs, because I have every intention of finishing them. But it's been like more than 5 years for most of these poor projects that have been stowed away. And so I've been going through them. I did sort of suggest maybe last episode that I could do a works in progress video again. But instead of that, I seem to have just been wanting to do something about this pile. So I've looked at my overview on my Ravelry projects. When I have it up on my big screen, it's about 10 projects per row, and I had 3 rows once I've tidied it up a little bit. I will admit, transparency, that there are some projects I haven't added yet, some design projects, but generally there are 30 projects that I had to go through, and that to me is actually not that bad, because I used to have over 50 projects back in the day, so 30 we can deal with. So I've had a look at that. I literally just did a screenshot of that view because I knew it was going to change once I start hacking away at it, and crossed out the ones that I was going to frog. Yep, we're frogging now. That's something I have a bit of a hard time doing. But yeah, I decided some of these have to go, and I will talk about the reasons why as we go along. I was trying to adjust the camera so you can see the dog, but you still can't see the dog, but she's here. Embla's here. So yeah, I crossed out the ones I was going to frog, and then I gave a green cross for the ones that I decided I really need to finish. If I don't finish these now, it's gotta go as well. So yeah, that's, well, maybe not go, but like things that are very close to being done. Like, I really have no excuse at this point. It's like, oh, this one needs button bands. Like, come on. So one that I have picked up is actually not from the super old pile. It literally just needed the edging, and that is my Clint shawl by Natasha Hornby. I started this one last year, so it's not really that long ago, but yeah. Well, was it last year? Technically we're 26, but like it was 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. Year and a half ago, I started Clint shawl because it is stunning. I think for a lot of people it makes them think of quilting. For me, it made me think of all the tapestries that I have decorated my home with, and I have actually taken inspiration from some of those tapestries and put those colors into the shawl. So before we get any further, I want to show you the colors. And I went with these. So for the main body of the shawl, I went with this warm grey. I've had a lot of these undyed greys from Hillesvåg Sølje, their fingering weight pelt wool yarn. But this is a warmer grey that I didn't have before. It's like a little bit of a hint of blush to it. And I decided that was going to be the main colour. And then I decided these 3. So a slightly brighter red than the sort of more burgundy red that I normally use of theirs. So that I had to buy that as well. And a very dark brown and a pretty springy kind of green. And I am very pleased with these colors. They are a bit outside my comfort zone. I mean, they're very my normal moody jewel tone, but a little bit on the brighter side. And I left out blue. There was some blue in the tapestry I took inspiration from, and it would have really popped in this shawl. If there could have been one more color, it would have been blue. But this was the color, the rainbow that I picked. So, I hope you're ready for the reveal. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. Well, we have seen this before, but we haven't seen it blocked before. I've really managed to open up this shawl. I mean, I'm surprised every time at how much you can open up garter. It's huge. I initially had some complaints that I thought I was making it a little bit too small. Maybe should have gone up a needle size, yada yada. This is the wingspan. So I think we're good. I think we're good. So I was working on this project non-stop when I cast this on in the autumn of 2024, and I got all the way with the I-cord from this corner all the way, well maybe that's the other corner, all the way to here. So I had like one wing left for the I-cord, and then I was going to do the lace bottom edging, which actually comes with a bit of garter as well, but there wasn't a whole lot left to do, and I've been putting that up for a year and a half for reasons. I do this a lot. I feel a lot of oomph in the beginning of a project, and then, yeah, and then once I'm past like 40% of the thing, I'm not feeling anymore, and it gets worse and worse the closer to the finishing line that I get. If I'm like 90% done with something, oh, snooze fest. And this has nothing to do with the pattern or anything, it's just what the novelty effect is gone for me, and I need to get past that so I can actually finish things. So this is the wingspan once I am wearing it. Oh yes. There's still a lot of drape and everything, and I'm all around here. Very wearable. I love me a big symmetrical shawl. So yeah, I pin blocked this to the rug on my floor, which I will admit I hate carpeted floors, but it was a lot easier to pin to carpeted floors than to rugs. A lot of my pin blockers have kind of got a little bit bent as I've been trying to like stay down there, but that's just how that is. I could have just fetched my blocking mats from the shed. Could have done that. Didn't do that. If it wasn't obvious, I am very, very pleased with this shawl. I'm so glad I cast it on. It's been a delightful experience. I feel like I can say this now that this is my second Natasha Hornby shawl, that her patterns are just great. One of those designers that have that like little extra eye to detail that I just appreciate so much, that goes above and beyond, and it just tickles my little knitting, what have you. Only negative I could say is my own blocking technique. I should have probably fetched my blocking wires, which I have got out since, to run them through the I-cord to get this all the way, to get this a straight line, because the way I was blocking it, it was kind of like arched, so the wings look a little bit strange, and honestly I don't have enough floor space to get these straight now anyway, so they do kind of bend a little bit like this, which is fine. When you wear it you can't tell. I mean, you really can't tell anyway. Okay, let's lean back. Let's get, isn't this great? Isn't this great? It's stunning. It is so stunning. I've just been like having it hanging draped over one of my open doors here, and I just enjoy looking at it. I'm almost this close to just hanging it up on the wall, to be honest, with my other tapestries. Because yeah, it's just really neat. No complaints from me there. Do I have anything else to say? I guess the only thing that kind of like was a head scratching moment for me was when I was picking up stitches for the bottom here. So you pick up stitches all the way along the bottom once you've done the I-cord at the top, and you do a couple of garter rows before you get to do the sideways sort of bind off lace thingy, which is only this pointy because I pinned out every little point, and it was worth it. Did it take over an hour? Yes, it was worth it. It looks so defined now. But yes, when I was picking up those stitches, the pattern is very clear and specifies like how many stitches you should have for the wing, for the little bottom half and the other bottom half, and like it didn't quite work out for that for me, even though I kept to this pickup rate. I ended up with way too few, I think, for the wing, and then way too many like down here for like the front sort of flap. And I just decided that I can't decide like where, you know, normally you don't get the exact stitches for the pickup rate and you just kind of like, didn't pick up enough, but or too many, right? But here I did both, so it was kind of hard for me to decide like, well, which part did I do wrong then? Where's the pickup rate wrong? Because one place is just way too few and way too many, so I just balanced it out. I just like, well, whatever, I have too many here, I'll subtract from here, and then I just add a little extra there instead of like binding off lots in one section and adding a lot more in the other. And it has worked out. It looks perfectly fine and even. I'm not seeing any like places where I feel like it looks like there's too many of these little red triangles, points, and other places where it looks like there should have been more. It worked out. So if you find yourself in that same little pickle, yeah, I don't know if I explained what I did well there, but just go with the pickup stitches that you have and add where you need to add more. Don't subtract any, I guess is what I did at the end of the day. So in total, I had the correct stitch count, even if they were picked up in other areas. I hope that was clear. So that's the Clint shawl in pelt wool. Love, love, love the choice of yarn. Love the pattern. Big shout out to Natasha Warnby. We have a lot of knitting projects to get through today. I haven't been this productive, I don't think, ever. Obviously it looks very productive because I have all these finished projects that really have taken me many years to knit. So let's just keep some realistic thought to this as well. But yes, I am seriously, okay, so let's do this. For every finished bound off project, I'm also going to talk about a frogged project, and we can just alternate like that, because yeah, I've finished 3 and frogged 3. Okay, we are going to talk about one that I have forgotten the name of. Wonderful. This was knitted in, what's it called? Rosy Green Cheeky Merino. Lovely, soft, ecological merino yarn. It is stunning yarn. I've had a few yarns of these over the years that I've destashed because I haven't found out what to knit with it, but it's no fault of the yarn. Love the yarn. So this is the little cake that I have caked back up again. That was the yoke portion of one of the ziggurat patterns in Åsa Turquosa's ziggurat book that you guys know I love. I love that book. It is stunning. There's a fair chance I will knit that pullover again. I'll put it here. I don't know why I'm blanking on the name. It's been literally staring at me in my Ravelry projects for years, and that is just why I frogged it. I was like, am I going to pick it up and knit on it now? Well, if not, frog it. Frog it, frog it, frog it. I've had some problems with this in the past, and it was purely down to my yarn choice. Love the yarn, love the pattern, but why did I always insist on going down in yarn weights for patterns? I did this a lot back in the day. I wanted to make my garments lighter. I had a bit of an issue with tight gauges for thick yarns, and I've kind of come around to love it. So before I was like, oh no, like I 22 stitch gauge for DK yarn, I don't want that. I want that for sport weight, and I do, but it would have been nice to do with DK because then I would have got row gauge, and for a all-in-one satin sleeve design, you want to get row gauge too, and I didn't get row gauge, and that's why I had to frog back and reknit some increases between the increases to do the arm side and get it the right length, but with the right, yeah, without making too many of stitches or blah blah. I don't even know what I did. It was a long time ago, but I already know back then that I had issues. So knowing that I didn't get row gauge, meaning that for me, I would have had to do more rounds to get the desired length, and I didn't have enough yarn. I had initially bought 2 skeins to do this jumper. Don't know what I was thinking. How was I going to do with 2 skeins? So later I made up for that by buying a 3rd skein. As if 3 skeins was going to be enough. 3 DK skeins? I don't think so. Even if I was going to do it cross, which was probably my plan at the time. I would have needed 4. Of course I was going to need 4. And so here I'm sitting with 2 skeins in one dye lot, one in another, and thinking, really, do I want to buy a 4th skein in a 3rd dye lot to finish this thing I haven't worked on in over 5 years? I don't even remember the year I cast it on, probably 2019, like a lot of my things. Chateaubriand, that's what it's called. Can't pronounce it, so it didn't really help, but yeah. It had to go. I am very open to do it again in the future in a different yarn. I don't know what to do with this yarn now. I have 2 skeins of the same dye lot, one of them caked up and a little bit noodly, but it will straighten out the more it sits in the cake form. And another one in a different dye lot. So if anyone wants to buy it off me, it is a stunning colour though, truly. It would have been a lovely, lovely jumper to have, but it wasn't happening. It wasn't happening. It's been too many years, and I was still having these hang-ups. I should have picked a yarn that would have given me something closer to row gauge, and just accept that, yeah, it would have been a bit thicker, but that was how the pattern was written, and just go with that. Well, hindsight, I always learn something from everything I knit. I learned tons from knitting ziggurat patterns, about fit, about satin sleeve silhouettes. It's never, even if you frog it, it doesn't mean it was a fail or that, you know, nothing good came of it. So We're sending that out to the frog pond and we're moving on to another finished project. And I am very, very pleased with this. And you're going to be very happy to see this project again because this is an oldie but goodie. I do think I cast this on in 2020, if not earlier. It was in my queue for a while. When I first saw this pattern, I thought it was stunning. I didn't want to do anything different about it. It is just great. Wait, I talked about it last episode. I did. So I guess it doesn't need all this introduction then. It is the Sleeve Island pattern by Kate Davies. I bought a kit for this because, again, it was perfect. It's just perfect the way it is. I wanted to change exactly nothing. And it is done. And this one, I had some grievances about it's too short, it's too cropped. Like, are you increasing all the way to the sleeves, all the way down to the waist? So it's dolman sleeves, which I've never done before. And it just was very short when I had finished it. I tried it on the mirror and I was like, this, I gotta have to wear some, like, I already wear high-waisted skirts, but it's gonna have to be with dresses. It's sitting very high up. But the magic of blocking has made it fit just perfect. Well, now the sleeves are very long. So that makes me very happy that I took out the extra stripes that I did last time we spoke, where I removed 2 here, which meant that I didn't have to do another 2 there. Overall saved me 16 centimeters, would have been 8 centimeters extra. So like 4 centimeters, that's nearly 2 inches extra for each sleeve, the way it hangs over the shoulder, right? Yeah, pretty glad I did that. Could have taken out more probably, because this one took to blocking beautifully. I brought out my blocking wires for this so that I pulled 2 through each sleeve. So I had one pulling down the bottom and one pulling up the top, I guess. And I tried to really get a lot of width out of it because I knew that I didn't need more length. I still got more length, but I did the same thing on the other side. So that was 2 blocking wires. And then took one and kind of connected. They don't connect, but just having it lay parallel with them. So that I was also pulling out the neckline a little bit. Try to make sure the back neck was sitting a bit higher when I was blocking, but they did seem to kind of want to synchronize anyway, which is fine. It's fine. It doesn't hurt for it to drop a bit in the back the way it's sitting on me, to be honest. And I also try to pull down the sweater here, and that was truly where a lot of the magic happened. It was really difficult because that wasn't something I could do with blocking wires necessarily. I just had to get a lot of blocker pins just very evenly, try to make sure this one doesn't look too wobbly, and I think it worked out really well. So let's have a little costume change. Ta-da! Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da! See how this thing has grown. I mean, okay, so you didn't see how it's fit in the first place. But yeah, I am so happy that I did the neckline shaping. That was not in the pattern. It's supposed to sit like straight across like a boat neck. And I just shaped it both for the neck, the back neck and the front. Double the amount in the front, which you can't even tell. Like, there's so much more shaping for the front than the back, but it just sits about the same anyway, which, okay. Oh well. So yeah, the sleeves are ridiculously long. They are way too long. It's fine. I love a cozy sleeve. I love being able to sit like this, so you will not hear me complain about too long sleeves. And the body sits all the way down here now. And love, would you mind if I got up and showed the people? Would you mind? Can I do that? Oh, she's like, no mother. No mother. But I will. Okay. So there. You see how it sits? Like, before it's that kind of up here. And now it's just like draped around comfortably. See, I could have gone down a size. There's a lot of extra fabric down here. Like, the waist is supposed to be a little bit more snatched and a lot of the more eases at the top. And if I'd done that, I wouldn't have had such long sleeves. But I love my sleeves. It's just that I had to get more yarn to finish it. I don't think you can tell. Yes, this sleeve has different dye lots, both the dark and the light grey. And to me, there's no obvious place where that change happened. I can't tell at all. I changed the light grey and the dark grey at different places. It's not obvious to me, so I'm going to assume that was fine. And do you mind if I wear this the rest of the episode? Should we do that? Should we do that? Oh, it's stunning. It's so cute. This really grew a lot with locking. It grew so much. Could have done a size smaller. Could have done a size smaller. Ta-da! Sleeve Island. I have truly been on Sleeve Island. I mean, I make it sound like it's taking me so long to knit because I started in 2020. I started in 2020 and did about this much. And then I didn't touch it again until 2022. Then I knit all the way to about the middle. And then I tried to get a little bit further on, and it was just a slog. I had other things to do, and it was, yeah. And then I picked it up just, the other week, and here we are. Really wasn't a big deal at all. The pattern is so memorizable. I don't think I've looked at the chart since I did that first little bit of sleeve in 2020. I just pick it up really easily. It's memorizable. Easiest thing in the world. I got nothing bad to say about this pattern. It's just been a joy. I have got to try something very new and different. Dolman sleeve, sleeve to sleeve knitting. Running out of words. I have also got to try the Milwaukee Tweed yarn by Kate Davis for the second time now. I've also earlier worked from a kit that I bought for the Balmaha yoke. And yeah, it's a really nice yarn. It is very different to what I normally use. Like, I think it's a wool mohair blend. I wonder if the wool is some type of merino, but do not quote me on that. It might not be. It does steek pretty well and clearly grows a lot with wash. I wonder if the growth is because it is a single ply yarn. It's a very well twisted single ply, so sometimes it feels a bit like it's got two plies, but really no. And single ply yarns, I know from experience, grows a lot when it's superwash. So I guess it stands to reason that it would grow quite a bit when it's not as well. So we could have foreseen this if we had done a swatch and blocked it. But this is a do as I say, not as I do podcast. I hope you know this by now. Any other things? I have also done a steek for the bottom, and I used the stabbing method that I talked about last time, where I'm using these tools that I got from Clover that you just, put the steek on top of whatever safe non-feltable surface and just go ham with a felting needle tool. And that seems to work really well for everything I had to steek with this garment, and I will be doing it again. It's a lot easier to have that tool with several needles rather than just the one that I had before. I know, Baba. And so, having talked about one finished project, we're going to talk about another frogged project. Oh, sweetie. Oh, baby girl. The Granskog tea had to go. So Oslo Knitting Festival had this really gorgeous t-shirt pattern called Granskog tea, a pine forest tea. And I really wanted it in this color, in this yarn by Hillesvåg. This is Hillesvåg Huldra, which is one of their very different yarns to theirs. It is not woolen spun, so it's quite a smooth yarn. I don't think it's from their usual wools either, and I wonder if it's partially made elsewhere. So it's a really thin yarn, and it makes me think of old vintage yarns. Right, these like really fine smooth yarns that we made like all those like lacy blouses with and everything, and that was my plan when I bought this. But I wanted to make the Granskog tea, and this one was hard to frog. I really looked at it, I was like, well, I could just carry on now. I could just continue knitting it now. What if I did that and I would just get to the stockinette and it would just be stockinette and I would be finishing it? And I'm like, Ellie, stop. Just stop. It's been just rib and a little bit of the bottom hem lace pattern. I didn't even finish it for 6-7 years. Again, this is from that time. I had a bit of case of castanitis between 2017 and 2020 something. It was rough. We got through it. I'm just kind of tidying up the aftermath of that still. So I really wanted to carry on knitting it. I'm like, what if I cast it on and just did it again? I'm like, no, Ellie, stop it. It just had to go again. It was so old. I never got past the rib. I didn't get much past the rib, is I guess what I'm trying to say. Sometimes you just gotta accept that it's not happening. It's not happening. This is gonna go on to become something else. It's annoying because this is like the second thing in Huldra I have frogged now. So I've yet to actually get to work with Huldra, which is a lovely yarn that I'm like gushing about all the time. But it's just not happening. We gotta be realistic sometimes, don't we, Baba? She's like, you talk too much and I'm getting the feeling it's not for me and we can't be having that. I'm like, yes, this is true. Anyway, one project frogged, another project finished. What? We finished another thing? Yes. Remember I said I had a few that just needed a button band or something, and this is one of those. I have finally finished the Eleanor cardigan. I believe this was also 2020 cost on. Don't quote me on that. She's done. So the Eleanor cardigan was actually one of my first knits back in, calm down, 2013, give or take a year. One of my first garments. I knitted it in a grey superwash baby merino and I wore it all the time. I got so much wear out of it, but it is really no longer my size. It needs a bit of mothhole mending in the cuff, and I have always wanted one in woolly wools in red yarn, and I managed to get my mitts on a lot of PT2 red yarn when that was being discontinued, quote unquote, merged with Phenol, as if I thought they were very different yarns. And I have a bunch of this red yarn. I still have a lot left. Not enough to do a garment, I don't think, but certainly a fair bit. So maybe I could have made this bigger, but I just remember how well this one sat around my shoulders using the contiguous method to create a sort of easy set-in sleeve shoulder fit without actually doing set-in sleeves. Do you have anything you want to say? Do you? But I needed it to be a bit bigger, so I don't even remember. I've done some more increases at the arm side. I have added some more stitches under the arms. So it does overall fit me, although it is a little bit snug. I will say that. I guess that was my... I don't really do fitted knits anymore. I think my body changes too much for that to be worthwhile. And I think knit fabric isn't really ideal for that anyway, though it's quite forgiving either way. So like, you do you. But every now and then, I want a little bit of a fitted knit. So let's try this on, shall we? Ow, oh, I have kind of hurt my arm lately. It feels like I've slept on it, but I actually went to the GP about it yesterday because it's just not going away. It's a tricep thing, so when I put sleeves on, it just hurts so bad. Thankfully, it does not hurt when I knit, because that would have had me concerned. But I'm also like now worrying that I'm compensating with other muscles that are involved in knitting, and that is not good. So I'm keeping an eye on that. But the GP was very unbothered by it, so they were just like, it's probably a sprain. It will get better. And I'm like, okay, thanks, bye. But here is Eleanor. She needs buttons. That's all she needs. I haven't picked the right buttons yet. I'll either use something from my stash, or I am about to do a button order because I do need those buttons for the Gaskell cardigan by Susan Crawford anyway. But yeah, we'll see. Buttons will be had. But yeah, it is steeked. I literally just cut the steek just now because I realized it probably won't look that finished if I don't do that. So I have done that. Be proud of me. And I'm kind of deciding whether to stitch the steek onto behind the button band, or normally it will fold the other way and go behind the garment, but there is lace right by the button band. So I don't know if that's a good idea. And it doesn't seem to want to fold that way, so I might just keep it under the button band and do the stabby stab again. But it's done. Knitting wise, she's done. So this is Eleanor by Pinneguri. And if I'm not entirely mistaken, is one of the few patterns of hers that are not sadly translated into English. It could have changed since last time I checked, but yeah. It's, hello again. It's just stunning. I love this. This is going to look so cute with one of my like dark blue polka dot flared dresses that I have. And you good? We good? Let me give you a close up. The pattern here is so stunning. You can see the arm side here, the way it's just shaped all in one go. I adore this. Is the reason why I made this twice. There's not a lot of things you will find me make twice, but this one I had to, even though it doesn't quite, I had to do a lot of modification to make it fit my dimensions. I found that pretty doable. So there. But yeah, an oldie but goodie, having that kind of like vintage fit to it. As you can see, I was discussing the length I think last time we spoke, and I had knitted it up down to about here, so it like stopped right at my waist, which I used to stop right there. and it doesn't really allow for a lot of movement. Like, it doesn't take a lot for you to like do this and then it's all up here, and I don't love that. So I let it now sit a little bit where my waist kind of goes out again, and just give it an inch or two there. I think I gave it an inch and a half or a little bit more than that. And I think that was the perfect length. Wouldn't change it. It wouldn't hurt if it was a little bit longer, but I definitely wouldn't have wanted it shorter the way it obviously was before. So love it, love it, love it. I love that my camera just cannot deal with the amount of red that we're dealing with here. It is very, very bright red, and it is one of my absolute favorite colors. I know I'm the burgundy gal. That is my favorite color to wear, but my favorite color overall is definitely this shade of red. That, like a lovely lipstick red, you know. I just love it. Just not on walls. I hate red walls. Oof. So yeah, Eleanor is finished. And you know what that means, Embla? You know what that means? It means we are going to have to talk about something we have frogged. Oh no, something's been sent to the frog pond. What could it be? I have frogged cat bells. I talked about possibly frogging it in my whip video from many years ago that I just rewatched to remind myself a bit. And the reason is that while I really want to have the sweater, I bought the yarn in the exact same amount and dialogue as the sample in the photo. This is a pattern by Megan Nodeker, and yeah, it's a stunning sweater. I wanted everything about it, and then somehow could just never get into a rhythm of the garter lace pattern. I had done one front and then joined it with the other front, I think. And that's not very far. And having had that sit for so many years and not making more progress, it's just hard for me to justify keeping that kind of work in progress around. Now, the other thing is that sadly, I made this in the fiber company Cumbria yarn, which is a stunning, beautiful yarn that will soon no longer exist because the fiber company are the closing shop. They are no more. I'm hoping someone's going to take over some of the yarns because other people could obviously do that. But yeah, for the time being, it looks like this yarn will be no more. And so I was like, well, considering this is not like some kind of like super rare treasure, do I want to use it for a sweater that I may not finish even though I want it? It's stunning. I just didn't keep on knitting on it for whatever reason. Maybe if I'd started knitting it again now, I would have felt differently and carried on. Who's to say? But I then felt like, wait a minute. This yarn is becoming really rare really quickly. I've been wanting a cardigan this color. Remember how I was raving about the ochre mustard yellow Gaskell on the front cover of Susan Crawford's book? And I've been looking for DK weight yarn. This is worsted, but you know, it works. For the Kate Davies Circuit cardigan. I have actually bought more yarn. We're going to talk about that in acquisitions, but I have bought more of this color. It won't be the same colorway, but we'll deal with that when we get there. So the cat bells pullover is sadly no more. I was very excited about it, but I just have to accept sometimes that some whips, I hate saying aren't meant to be, like it's not my decision. It's obviously my decision, but yeah. Sent it to the frog pond. So now I have this gorgeous little pile of frogged skein that just like represent my color palette so well. It's ridiculous. So clearly I know what colors I like, if anything. Now, I was going to talk about another frogged project. I picked up the Nurtured pullover by Andrea Mowry. I have years ago done the sleeves with markers here. Remember I showed you this way back when. I cast this on in January 2020, shortly after I'd been to Vogue Knitting and bought this pattern. Pretty sure I met Andrea Mowry there, if not, maybe that was another time. And obviously full of all the knitting buzz I wanted to cast on. It's just been a sleeve ever since. I was like, clearly we gotta frog that. That was, and I also thought like it wasn't a good yarn to pattern match. I used the Solstice yarn by Magpie Fibers. It is a wool cotton blend, and I thought that would be perfect for a slightly snug sleeve sweater because sometimes wool is a little bit hot for me. And I thought, surely I didn't get row gauge with this because I picked such a finer yarn than the recommended Aran weight yarn. Like I'm using a DK weight yarn. What was I thinking? And it didn't look like it had the most defined stitch definition in the photos I took. Although actually in person, I don't know if it's just the camera's not picking it up, but in person it's looking really good. So here I am looking at this. I'm like, really? I'm going to frog this? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to frog this. In 6 years I've not done more than a sleeve. We have to frog it. It's got to be frogged. Like, come on. The rules are the rules. Add some grey to the colour palette pile, right? No. I've been knitting the body. I've been knitting on the body, and in 2 to 3 days I have already knit up 1 skein out of the 5 skeins I'm working from. And it's quite cropped, so I'm actually not that far off from getting to the underarm. I want to add some length, but for that, I gotta knit the other sleeve and see how much yarn I have left and do a bit of an estimation and see how much we're gonna need for the yoke because it's bottom up. But I didn't use a whole lot of yarn for the first sleeve. Like, this is like, I don't know if this is 50 gram or a little bit less, but there's a lot of yarn to go by here. So I think I could lengthen the body and still have enough yarn. According to the pattern, I only have like 100 meters more than I should have. And I will definitely put in those 100 meters in there, but I think I could put in a lot more and still be able to finish. But I'm just gonna have to calculate to be sure, because otherwise I gotta frog the entire yoke back and do the body shorter to have enough yarn for the yoke again. That would be very annoying. So I'm really gonna have to do some maths here and hope for the best, unless someone out there magically knows what how much yarn goes into size 4's yoke. I think I'm doing size 4. It's actually quite a lot of ease in the body. This was back when a lot of garments had like super snug sleeves and boxy bodies, and so the sleeves are snug. Again, I don't want to try it on because my arm hurts when I do, but it's pretty snug. I haven't blocked it yet, and as we have seen today, blocking makes a difference at times. So it might grow, it might not. It's fine. It fits, and the body has a lot of ease. I think it's got 122 centimeters around. I'm not alternating, which I may come to regret considering this is in fact hand dyed, but it is so marled that I wonder if I'm gonna get away with it. I hope. This doesn't look like the easiest yarn to frog because it has this like slip stitch garter pattern. I'm not known to love slip stitch patterns, but I am actually getting really into a groove of this. Clearly, because I've done all this length on quite a big oversized sweater in just a matter of a day or two, or possibly a little bit of a third day. So yeah, I've gone and caked up all the skeins because I am feeling very motivated to do this thing right now. I'm actually going to finish it. I had slashed this one out in red crosses in paint and I thought it was going to go, and here we are. And I'm now obviously sitting and thinking like, oh, what if I did that to Cat Bells or Granskog Tea or Chateaubriand? What if I did? And it's too late now. But now I'm getting into that state that makes me keep all my works in progress and think that I will finish them. Sure, I'll finish them. But at least we have made it to the end of all my works in progress. This is the one I'm knitting on right now. I am watching ER. I've been watching ER since the beginning of January when I realized how much I adore the pit. It is the best show I've seen in a very, very long time. Obviously take care if hospital stuff and gory stuff isn't your bag, but it's such a good show. Oh, and as I am clearly not getting enough the pit, even though as soon as I finished the first season, season 2 started and currently is running, and there was a new episode today. I had to watch some more medical drama. I've never liked medical dramas. Grey's Anatomy and stuff, never been my thing. Never liked Scrubs. Like, it wasn't for me. But then ER. Okay, I'm watching it back to back since it was made around the time I was born pretty much. And it's clearly not aged super well in every area. Just be prepared for that. But it's overall, like, a lot of episodes that hit me really hard. And so yeah, we can also thank ER for me getting through all these projects and keeping me going, because I mean, this is not a bad output for one day. Clearly I have some kind of color palette. Oh well, oh well. We have acquisitions, guys. We have acquisitions. I have bought yarn. Remember last time I was so good and I only came home with 25 grams of yarn from Unravel Yarn Festival. Would it not have been great if I kept that up? If I didn't make some cheeky yarn orders after that? There is yarn. Okay, so let me... First of all, in my defense, I had to... This cardboard is not for you, Baba. Cardboards are my usual sacrifice to Embla, so... I had to make an order for Kate Davis's Miller Rocky Tweed. I didn't have enough. I didn't have nearly enough to do the pullover, the kit estimated for. I don't know, it's entirely possible now that I blocked it that I was knitting too loose. Maybe that's why the sleeves are long and I just have used too much yarn to make it too big or whatever. I haven't measured, so let's not assume the fault is with the pattern yarn amounts here. But yeah, I needed another 25 gram bowl of each of the colors. So this is what I have left of the dark grey, and this is what I left of the light grey. So clearly I needed nearly an entire 25 gram skein more of the light grey and about half of a 25 gram bowl of the dark. So we have a bit of leftovers here. Just gonna put that with my other Miller Rocky Tweed leftovers. And this is what was left of the orange red. You good? Thank you. I had bought another one of this as well. And I don't know what possessed me to not check the color name before I ordered. I just looked at the photo. I'm like, yeah, this is the same color. No, it isn't. It's nothing close. This is a dark maroon. It's sort of in burgundy land, but I would say leaning more brown. It's maroon. I'm holding the orange in front here. You can see it's not the same. Couldn't I have just looked up the name? Why was I looking at the photo? I'm like, close enough. Let's go with that. In my defense, this actually doesn't exist anymore. Apparently this is not in the color range anymore. So I wouldn't have seen any other colors that was closer to the orange. I saw one color that could only be that color, so I just ordered this, not thinking really, and now I just have a ball of yarn that I will not be using on anything because it's not the right color, and I actually had plenty of this orange to do the hem. This was back when I was worried that it wasn't going to be long enough, which is why, I guess I forgot to mention that, which is why it's actually a lot longer than the pattern specifies. This is a lot longer. I want to use up every little bit of the last ball of orange, and I thought it was going to be too short. Clearly it isn't, but I am really pleased with that little effect at the bottom anyway. I think that was neat. So I will do that again, and I'm glad that I could do all of that with just the one ball that came from the kit. So in the end, I only needed... You good? She has a lot of things to say today. So in the end, yeah, this is all I have left over, and this one's just gonna have to become something else at some point in time. So that leaves me to this little box here. I got 2 skeins of Cumbria. I made a little order after I'd done my Kate Davies order. I made an order from Pearlescence that I didn't meet at Unraveled, and they probably did have this very yarn here. But me looking at just 2 skeins of cat bells, same as the pattern, I thought, you know, I can't do a cardigan out of 2 skeins. Didn't really think much of it. It was only when I got home and I was looking at my whips, I was like, I have 5 skeins. For that pullover, I clearly am not finishing. If I get the last 2 skeins in stock, I will have 7, and I can make that cardigan. What is stopping me? So I got the last 2 skeins. It won't be the same dye lot, but we can work that out. We can alternate. It looks very close if we do a little comparison. I see no obvious difference, so we're gonna be fine. I'm gonna put this back here just to support the skeins that are sort of turned upright, because this, all the blue and white you see here, is some more Jameson & Smith 2-ply jumper weight. You have last seen me work on this very color actually, when I was finishing my Leasing shawl. My second Leasing shawl sample, I used this yarn. So we're gonna have to go back and get a little backstory here. Why have Ellie bought all this yarn as if she doesn't have yarn? For years, for over a decade, have I been dying to knit the Berbertune cardigan on the cover of this book. This is the first Kofteboken in a series of 3 books called Kofteboken from Norway by Lene Holme Samsø. And I knitted this. I made this. I made the entire body. I think the body is way too long for what I would wear. I think longer silhouettes were kind of the thing back then. 2014. I've been wanting to make it for 12 years. That's a bit of a long queue item, isn't it? I made it in Drops Baby Merino, the same that I did the Eleanor cardigan with, and I don't love drops for a lot of reasons I will probably keep to myself for reasons, but I have issues. Them being affordable or whatever is not one of them, but there are the yarns I would have used. But also, I just don't think that was a good yarn match to this pattern. Knowing what I know about wool today, I just would have picked a more rustic yarn, like what I'm wearing. Something that's going to hold up and be worthwhile putting all this work and effort into. And it's going to look stunning and be more forgiving with color work. You know the spiel. I've been doing this for 10 years. So I gave my old whip to my mother. I don't know what she's going to do with it because I don't think it will fit either of us, but maybe it will fit someone at some point, who knows. So I've done the entire body. I've just not done the bottom rib, the bottom bands and the sleeves. That's all someone else can do. Maybe if my mom doesn't want to do anything with it, I can pass it on to someone who is interested, maybe next time I'm in Norway, but it's not happening here. I picked the same colors as the picture. It's a slightly brighter blue, and so that was another thing I wanted to sort of sort out and get a blue that I thought was more in line with. So I picked this, and in my shade cards, I took out all my shade cards from everything. I have shade cards from Hillesvåg, from Roma, from both the Jameson companies in Shetland. I have so many shade cards, but not the shade card from the Sunless yarn that they used here. I don't have any Sunless shade cards, sadly. And so this looked like the closest thing, but I'm not sure. Let's have a little... Is it? Is it? Because I feel like it's too... saturated. A little bit too much turquoise. I'm bothered. I'm bothered. Let's look at a photo. It's not that it's that far off. It's just it's a little bit more jeans, this one, you know? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like this might not be the right one. Okay, there's another comparison for you. It looks a bit more purpley. I don't know if I've wanted more purpley, so maybe this is the color that suits me more, that I like more, I mean. What's funny is actually this color is very close to a color I made. So, you know the Yartarusa pullover that I did for Lane magazine a year or two ago? I did it in white with red patterning, but that was one of the many colors that I had sketched out and sent to Lane, and they picked that one. But one of the other colors that I had drawn up that I personally really, really liked was in this bright blue, and then it had some like white and red detailing on it. So almost like a turquoise Marius palette. And this blue is pretty close to that, but I would need to order some more because that would be the main color of something that just has a bit of light patterning. So I would need a lot more. So I could do that, or I could do Berbertoon, and I haven't decided. And I should probably decide before I will end up with a different dial. Why do I keep getting myself into these dial issues? Scholars want to know. Here she comes! Hello, hello, hello! We're about to say goodbye to the people, Embla. But I thought before we do that, we can have a little story time. Because I took Embla to Hyde Park recently. That was our first visit to Hyde Park. We were going to meet some schnauzers. And Embla saw a schnauzer, and she will walk up to a schnauzer like it's an old friend. She loves her own people. Like, unfortunately, she was willing to do anything to get to said schnauzer. And she was running over and under the fences and everything. And above this, I guess what she just thought of as a hindrance, it was actually the edge of a fountain pool. So she goes right over and splash in, and all I can hear is splash, 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 and I'm beyond the fences. I'm still trying to get to whatever she got to, and I'm trying to get to her in time, because I don't know about her swimming skills, but dogs generally instinctively know how to swim. But thankfully, some young guy nearby just picked her up by the harness and out from the pool, and she just stood on the ground like a wet rat and just thought about her life choices for a bit. But it had me a little bit freaked out. I'm sure it was a perfectly... She can swim, you know, she couldn't get back up again, but I was getting there. We were fine. But yeah, that happened. Life with a dog is never boring, as they say. Okay. Okay, okay, okay. I love you too. I love you too. I love you too. It's fine. It's fine. My ears are clean, I promise. I promise. Yes, I love you too. Our famous last words whenever you get a dog is like, I'll never let my dog lick my face. I'm like, good luck to you. Good luck to you. She's not notorious for that, but you know, it's how they show love. Anyway, we are about to meet two handsome schnauzer boys in the park, so I will be catching you guys later. Thank you so much for watching, for being here with me, and I will hopefully see you soon. So yeah, bye bye.